This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 20 through 21. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, all praise, honor, and glory goes unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren, teaching his word in all sincerity and in truth. To the hopeful elect out there, shalom. To the 144,000 and the great multitude, men, women, and children, the Lord will have mercy on in these last days, shalom. It's the brother Dama Agabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify and give you warning from Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, and I want to get this in the NLT real fast. This Isaiah 29 and 21, it says, those who convict the innocent by their false testimony will disappear. A similar fate awaits those who use trickery to pervert justice and who tell lies to destroy the innocent. All right. And this is what's going to happen to Esau Edom at the time appointed, because right now he is making his case, and he is setting his snare ultimately, for the prophets and the men of the Lord, and eventually all free speech here in this country, on anybody who tells the truth, anybody whose narrative exposes the lies and the corruption and the, true agenda of these elites will be snared and entrapped and labeled and categorized as T, the T word that ends in the ist. All right. Terrorist, man. All right. Social media terrorist is going to be the new, 2024 thing. And these devils are setting their case to ultimately, to label us and to accuse us as being terrorists, man. And it's going to ultimately bring in the famine of the word. So, we're getting close to the end of this thing. Esau, he has but a short time. So now he has to come in with that great wrath. And part of him bringing in this new world order is he has to, do away with these constitutional rights, your First Amendment, Second Amendment, your right to bear arms, your freedom of speech, the internet being so free and so, unrestricted that he's building his case. All right. And it says New York to begin arresting residents who spread non-mainstream content online. And you recently had this happen over there in the land of Israel. You had some so-called Israeli woman was basically being pro-Hamas, basically going against, the Israeli state, saying that their genocide of the Palestinians just wasn't right and it wasn't wrong. She was arrested. The same thing happened over there in London, too, somewhere. I think it was France, where they were arresting people who were going online on these different social media sites like X and TikTok and different social media platforms, and voicing their, saying that they were pro-Palestinian, and what the Israelis was doing was evil and wicked. They were arrested. And now over here in New York, they're bringing that same agenda here. See, and that's why, like I said in my previous video, you got to pay attention to what's happening all around the world, because this is going to be a global agenda. Don't think just because it's happening in France or in the EU that it can never come here to the States. But, because this article further proves the point that this is a global agenda. And look at this witch. She looked like she's a damn Satan worshiper. But anyways, it says the WEF-controlled city of New York has instructed police to begin arresting residents who share non-mainstream content online. It says in accordance with the WEF policies, Governor Kathy Hochul has agreed to violate the U.S. Constitution and crack down on so-called hate speech on behalf of the global elites, you see? And this is why, they're allowing this whole Israeli and Gaza situation to escalate. That's one of the many reasons. We know they want to get, that pipeline and get their hands on that, get that land so that they can make that pipeline or whatever. But also they're using the rise in so-called anti-Shemism, all this hate for the so-called Israelis, they're using that as part of their agenda to, roll out this, roll out these policies to crack down on so-called free speech. and to basically label everything hate speech, mainly anything that goes against the mainstream narrative. All right. They don't give a damn about these so-called small hats. They don't give a damn about people cussing them out. It's just being used as part of the agenda to, categorize everybody and to basically, put in policy to where, they can deem whatever the hell they want to be as hate speech and label whoever they want to be hate speech or a social media terrorist, man. See, this is all part of this global reset that these devils are trying to implement. It says, according to Hochul, the WEF has instructed her to begin running surveillance efforts to monitor the social media posts of New Yorkers to counter hate speech. Newstat reports Hochul spoke to the media following a meeting with the state's Jewish leaders, local law enforcement, and federal authorities. During the press conference, Hochul unveiled her plans to allegedly combat hate crimes, you see, and they're just using all this, pro-Palestinian marches, everybody calling out the small hats for their genocide and their ethnic cleansing and their, wickedness as a way to, deem everybody a goddamn terrorist and, using it as an effort to clear up all so-called hate speech on the internet, and then, they're going to say it's not just against the small hats. It's against all forms of hate speech, which is a goddamn lie, which ultimately, they're going to label the men of the Lord and the prophets, what we're doing, as hate speech, because our message is, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the God of, the creator of heaven and earth, is going to send back his son to come and do away with this society. He's going to come with fire and judgment to establish his righteous kingdom. And they're going to use that as a form of us being of hate speech and us being social media terrorists, man, because our message is not along with the mainstream narrative. It says, it's painful to me as the governor of this great state that has been known for its diversity and how we celebrate different cultures, different religions, different viewpoints. It's painful to see the cruelty in which New Yorkers are treating each other, Hochul said. Everywhere from college campuses to our streets, where do the prophets and the men of the Lord gather? On the streets, to schools, to playgrounds, even as they're entertaining their houses of worship. The governor continued by noting that she immediately deployed the state police to protect our synagogues and yeshivas and mosques and any other place that could be susceptible to hate crimes or violence. You see? She said, I've also announced a significant increase in funding for our efforts, $75 million overall, $50 million for local law enforcement to beef up their efforts, as well as $25 million in security grants, blah, blah, blah. You see? So this whole anti-blim message, this whole, all these, that's why they're allowing all these protests to go on. That's why they're allowing these Palestinians to tear down American flags and put up their flags, to be out here in these different states marching and protesting, and they're allowing the people to voice their opinions, people calling out the wickedness that these Israelis are doing, and it's all going to be used to basically to silence and shut up everybody and to deem anybody a goddamn social media terrorist, man. And it's mainly anybody that goes against the mainstream narrative and anybody that's calling out the truth, man. All right. And this is why you see them trying to bring this digital ID. And now they're trying to have digital ID to where you have to, literally have digital ID to even get on the internet, so that whenever you say anything or you post anything, it's going to be directly linked with you. All right. And you can be grabbed up. You can be fined and imprisoned and ultimately have your rights to be on the internet revoked, man. And it's ultimately just to silence anybody that speaks out or that calls out the BS of this government, man. You see, it's all working together, It says Hochul went on to detail New York's plan to catch. Matter of fact, let me get this preset. This is hey, and they did the same thing to Yahweh Shai. You see, and they're going to do the same thing with us. And this is why they want everybody to have this digital ID so that you can link your, so that your internet access can be directly linked to you. So that whenever you do something or you post something or you record a video, hey, they can directly come at you and use your speech against you and lock you up and silence everybody. All right. And this is Luke chapter 11, verse 53. It says, and as he said these things unto them, the scribes and the Pharisees began to urge him vehemently and to provoke him to speak of many things, laying wait for him and seeking to catch something out of his mouth that they might accuse him. You see, those wicked scribes and Pharisees did the same thing to Yahushua. And now this government, they're going to be doing the same thing to us, especially, the prophets and the men of the Lord. All right. This is why they're letting everybody speak. They're trying to get everybody to choose a side. They want you to know whether you're pro-Israeli or pro-Hamas. They're allowing everybody to have these different platforms, but eventually it's all going to be used against everybody, man, especially those who are speaking the truth, those who are coming with a message that's not going along with what these people deem to be suitable, All right, let me get this one, because this is ultimately what these devils are doing. And this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now must come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. See? And this is what we're waiting to happen, for Esau to be judged and Esau to be found guilty on all charges. But, before we be delivered and before we're going to be saved, we're going to be accused of this devil. And this is what he's ultimately setting up with this, allowing the Biden just signed an executive order to allow the FCC to take control over all forms of digital communication, which is the internet. The word is kategoros. It says an accuser, a name given to the devil by the rabbis, but ultimately an accuser. You see, it says against one in the assembly, and they're ultimately against us. They're going to categorize us as terrorists. Not that one, And this is what they're eventually going to label anybody that has a message that goes outside of their narrative. And this is what this witch is talking about. It says, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts, what's being said on social media platforms. So they're listening, they're watching everything, man. They're keeping record on the videos you like, what videos you thumb up, what videos you don't like, what videos you constantly spend time watching, and they're building a case against you, and they're going to eventually deem you unfit or, a supporter of or a actual proponent of social media terrorists, man. It says, and we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about online. She insists that no New Yorker should feel they have to hide any indication of what their religious beliefs are. Yeah, right. But they're still going to use it against you. So like I said earlier, they're going to want you to speak. Just like they did to Yahushua in that Luke chapter 11. They let him speak and say, they want him to ask questions. They want you to speak and say what you have to say so that they can catch you up in your words and use that against you. Remember, and they're going to it's going to be a broad stroke of what they're going to deem to be hate speech, man. And they're going to be looking to silence and get rid of everybody and use this as an excuse to take away your constitutional rights. See? It says, Holcher has been a strong supporter of the Israel's war against Hamas terror group. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that. But let's hear what this broad got to say.
Also, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts. What's being said on social...
re-education camps. Here we come. And I think the brother in London was bringing it out today on the algo that over there in London, that, over there, when you get a strike from YouTube, you get so many, they basically send you to a re-education. You got to take a re-education course on how to abide by the YouTube rules and guidelines so that you don't offend anymore. You see?
Social media platforms. And we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our social media analysis unit has ramped up its monitoring of sites to catch incitement to violence, direct threats to others. And all of this is in response to our desire, our strong commitment to ensure that not only do New Yorkers be safe, but they also feel safe. Because personal security is about everything for them. As I said, no one walking down the street or in a subway should feel they have to hide any indications of what their religious beliefs are. We expect to see people celebrating their lives, walking about freely. And that is no longer the case because people are living in fear.
Oh, boy, there you go. With the whole fear campaign, But, hey, we knew that this was coming. And I was reading another article that was saying the same thing. That, like I said, like Biden is giving the FCC and the UN total permission over the internet, man. And they're going to monitor it. And they're going to crack down. And it's going to be a whole lot of, strict rules to follow as far as you being on the internet, man. And we know that eventually you're going to have that digital permission in order to even be on the internet, man, which is all part of the social, your social credit score, this digital slave system that they're all implementing. So let me get this last precept. So, brothers got to get this truth while you can. A lot of you younger guys coming into this thing, hey, you better get on some level pretty quickly and, get this truth while you can, because this devil is making moves so that he's going to remove the prophets from off the highways and the byways, and he's going to take this truth off of the internet. This is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. All right. And where do you hear the words of the Most High? Mainly it's on the internet, through the YouTube, through the World Wide Web, day in and day out, day in and day out, utter speech. You're able to have access to this word as of right now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But as these devils are trying to pass these laws to where it's not going to be so readily available. They're going to, once they totally get control of this, of this internet, the only information you'll be able to Google or research is going to be whatever they deem to be truth and, their version of the truth. You're not going to be able to access any true truth or the prophets or the men of the Lord or the breakdowns of the Holy Scriptures. And we're not going to be out there on the highways and the byways in the midst of all hell breaking loose and martial law, prophesying out there in the midst of complete chaos, man. So you got to get this truth while you can. It says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. And in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst, right? Thirst of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because it's not going to be here. This devil is going to ban it. He's going to restrict it. He's going to make it illegal. And he's going to make it punishable by death. Anybody that speaks out proudly and boldly in the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and that's when the Lord is going to have his men, the men of the Lord, wherever we need to be outside of, clear and present danger. But the point being is that these devils are moving forward and they're coming after the internet and they're coming after this truth, man. So you got to get this while you can. So I think I'm going to close it there. I think the point was made. So give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, you were edified. To the next one, shalom.